I finished this 30 by 30 inch painting a few days ago. The scene can be found just a kilometer away from where we live, and I also made this oil sketch before doing this painting. A link to making of the sketch is in the description box below. For this painting, I'm using a rule of thirds just to determine the exact positions of the objects present, and this drawing was done accordingly. Now the work on blocking starts from here, and I'm covering the canvas with white and a little burnt sienna. I'm covering it very quickly. Now I started blocking in the tree with ivory black and warm yellow. I'm using a filbert brush to obtain the basic leaf structure. It's rounded to some degree. Blocking is about creating a base for the future layers for modeling and then detailing. Just here, it's important to focus on values and nothing more. I'm covering the areas, this particular area with brown and black, and then adding some yellow ochre to emphasize the form, adding some patches as quickly possible. The land in these areas is pale and dusty, so using a very dull pale color to fill the area. Here I'm creating random marks with some dark colors as well to emphasize form for future. Now again using the filbert brush with some ochre and warm yellow to render the form of the leaves. Here I'm trying to determine the shape of the trunk. To me, the trunk provides the character of a tree. So here I am taking my time to get the most sought after result, adding more branches later on. Adding some more branches and some darker areas to camouflage them. And here's the full shot of the block in. Now I've started adding more light with white and slight amount of yellow ochre to denote the dull afternoon light of the winter. The structure of every objective is determined during the modeling process. I'm also adding color variation to emphasize the form and temperature. I'm minutely observing what should be the correct form, which would make me satisfied with the shapes. Here I'm working on the color temperature as well, the cooler areas as well as the darker areas. I've just started working on this foliage. These are shrubs and very dry, and the winter is very dry in India, apart from except for the mountains. So these these are very dry foliage, and it also creates a different kind of a feeling as well. Here I've added some yellow ochre with black and white to create some sort of a greenish tone, but it doesn't look like monsoon as well when everything is lush green. Adding some lighter foliage patterns with various kinds of brushstroke. Here I'm using stippling brush marks with a dagger brush. These brushes are very useful. Now using a flat brush and using scumbled brush strokes. I use palette knife in almost every finished painting to create sometimes flatness or rough areas. I use rather scumbling strokes to avoid the heaviness that comes with palette knife painting. But this technique creates a very random abstract form very quickly. I'm adding more darker areas as well. These are going to be smaller foliage. Here is another picture of enhanced blocking. Eventually, I had to correct some areas in the tree and adding more darks as well as lights and creating the leaf patterns. You're adding a bit of light to show which one is the lighter area and which one isn't. I've started playing with the form and values more and more, adding light, creating structure, etc. And I'm covering the distant field with almost no detail whatsoever. And but as you can see that I'm also trying to understand what I should create so that it looks very natural. And there is obviously a subjective detail. You will see some fences in a minute. And I'm creating some lines, the roads, etc. Whatever is there. I'm starting putting the fences here and there. And there were some fences as well. Here I'm playing with the land area more and more in similar fashion, and the picture starts to become more alive. The form is more defined. We're adding darker areas now, adding highlight, and this is very much the center of focus, and it would lead you to the tree. So I'm putting down some light. This is cool light, and I'm blending the edges with a dry knife. Dry brush. After 10 or 15 days, I didn't work on this particular painting during this period, and decided that the picture and the tree itself needed more light here, and so I'm adding a bit of volume, and the fluffiness of this particular tree, which is a neem tree, is very pleasing to see. Here the tree started taking the shape, and also adding some more highlight, and this is lead white mixed with some warm yellow. I'm also enhancing the darkness a little so that it creates a little contrast in between. Now I've started creating the sky holes with a slightly warmer white color. It's not too apparent in the video, but it's there. It's a warm white color. Sky holes need some concentration and some understanding of the tree shape. So I'm observing more and putting it wherever it's needed. It's mostly where the shadows are, the underneath surface of the tree, and it's the skeletal area where the branches are. So the sky holes are done and it has taken some shape. Here I'm working more and more on the shapes of the tree and creating some color balance, the interplay between cool and light color. Adding highlight as well as darker colors. I generally paint with two brushes. One is a dark color and one is a light color, so that whenever, especially in these kinds of painting where everything is slightly moody, I use them simultaneously. Whenever I put a lighter color, I put a dark color as well to balance it out. This, I don't know if anybody does it, but it kind of happened naturally. Here I'm adding more lead white and a mix of yellow and lead white. Now I'm using random strokes with some light color to create abstract shapes here. This is very much like doing abstract expressionism. You just observe where it needs, sort of like a very instinctive process. You can see I'm observing while doing it. Adding some more foliage on the right hand side. Now adding detail here and there, adding some more contrast, putting more light on some of the areas. And the speed is obviously slowed down. Spots here and there. This is like, it doesn't take much, and you need to understand when you need to stop. So this is the favorite part of my favorite part of painting a picture, and which is actually adding light. And here I'm also playing with some shrubs here and there, and foliage, adding dark and then light colors simultaneously, creating some points of interest over there and adding fine lines. So this is the shot of the final painting. It took me some time to understand some of the aspects of the scene, but in the end I am very happy with this particular painting. Now if you like this video, then hit the like button and please subscribe for more future videos. Take care and stay safe.